Hello everyone. Some of you out there will already know that I uploaded this video a couple of days or so ago, and about an hour after it was uploaded it had already received 62 views, which is pretty good when you know approximately 1 view per minute, so it's pretty good. Now the thumbs up were good and the comments were good, particularly the locomotives that I'd used and the sets of rolling stock I'd chosen to go with them, but unfortunately people didn't like the fact that I'd used the 6.5 special song by Don Lang running for 34 minutes, and everybody was muting and saying how much they missed my narration, and I need to go back to the old routine, blah blah blah. So I've re-rendered the video, I've put the original audio of the trains running on, and I've narrated it as well, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it better this time around. So go for it guys, enjoy it. Alright then everybody, let's start off with number one. Okay, the most famous train in the world without any doubt whatsoever, Flying Scotsman of course. Now here she is with the twin tender version, which I believe was originally done when she toured America, and then I think she did a big tour of Australia, so she was over in America and Australia for a few years in both cases. Here she is in her original number of 4472. She's a Class A3 and she was built for the LNER in, let me get my time dates right, I think it was 1923. I think that's right, and she was built by the Doncaster Railworks here in the UK. So, great locomotive, like I say, world famous, ask anybody about it, and everybody knows the Flying Scotsman. What else can I tell you about her? She was designed by Nigel Gresley, who later was knighted as Sir Nigel Gresley. We'll come to that a bit later on in the video anyway. And she's also famous for two awards, I don't know if that's the right term to use, two feats that she performed. One of them was she was noted to be the first rail locomotive to reach 100 miles per hour, steam that is, and she also was the first locomotive to do 422 miles non-stop by scooping up water from troughs in the track. So yeah, she's a beautiful locomotive, she's absolutely stunner, and I've kitted her out with, let me have a think, let me have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, seven lovely teak LNER coaches. Now I don't know if I'm using the right term here, but I will use the term, let me get it right a minute, second series. I think these are the second series Hornby coaches. I do have the first series and the third, and I'll talk to you more about that later. So there we go, Flying Scotsman.
6.5 special platform 8. Train starts to breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree, and now I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6.
Okay, so number two. Right, we have another loco that doesn't really need any introduction. I mean, Mallard, again, quite a famous locomotive. This one's in BR green livery, numbered 60022. Right, now Mallard was also made at the Doncaster Railworks here in the UK. I think it was 1938. No, I'm sure it was 1938. She's obviously a Class A4 462 Pacific loco, beautifully designed by Nigel Gresley, and she too does hold a record. She actually took the record off of Flying Scotsman by just under 26 miles an hour more to 125.88. Now that was actually on a slight downhill grade, which I'm sure would have helped, but nevertheless she topped it, and she's today still holds that record, which is cool. I would imagine that the streamlining by Nigel Gresley it certainly helped towards reaching that 126 mile an hour figure. Right, now the coaches on her are quite good actually. I'm quite pleased about this, because I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard about this new magazine type thing come out. It's called the Old Model Railway Village, and yeah, first edition, £3.99. You got a free coach and a straight piece of track. So when I saw that, I thought, I'm having some of that. So I went out and I bought 10 of them. So I kept one magazine for myself and one for my friend Danny from Canada, and I put the rest in the bin. But of course I kept the coaches on the straight tracks, which is cool. and for £3.99, they're absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't think of anything better really put on the back of Mallard here. So all 10 of them are on her, and she's pulling him like a dream. So there we go. So there we go then folks, for number 2, Mallard. Beautiful locomotive, as all the locomotives are I've done for you to see today. Back with number 3 in very few seconds.
The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8. Train starts at breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree. And I won't be missing.
Right, now next up we've got Tangmere. Now Tangmere isn't a famous locomotive like Flying Scotsman and Mallard, but she certainly does deserve a place in a video like this, mainly because of the style, the type of locomotive she is. She's a 462. She was known as a West Country or Battle of Britain class, also a relative of the Merchant Navy class. She was designed by Oliver Bullitt, and altogether there were 110 of these made between, if I get the dates right, try and remember my best, I think it was 1945 or 1946 to around about 1951. They were built by the Southern Region Brighton and Eastleigh Works here again in the UK, and yeah, they were very widely used on the West Country and the Southern Region. Beautiful locomotive, absolutely gorgeous. Semi-streamlined. They had a nickname called the spam can. Spam is a meat that we have here in the UK, like a processed meat, and it's in a can, have a similar shape to the locomotive, so obviously it's got the nickname spam can, and I actually learnt that from my good friend Danny over in Canada, but I have read about it since. But yeah, she's a great locomotive, and as I say, there was 110 of them made. And most of the names were from West Country towns and cities, and also a lot of them were named from the Royal Air Force squadrons, various squadrons like 633, etc, etc. But yeah, just a great locomotive and definitely deserves a place in this video. Coach-wise, the first coach is a Bullitt Southern Region, and the following 4 are 3 Maunsels, along with a Maunsell brake coach. So it's a good set to put on her. It's exactly how you would see them way back there in the day, and just a great locomotive, and like I say, deserves a place in the video. So I hope you like it.
The 6-5 special singing down the line. The 6-5 special right on time. Gold in the boiler burning up bright. We're rolling in the rocking through the night. My heart's beating 'cause I've been beating. The 6-5 special.
And once again, of course, she's a 462. A lot of the locos in the video are 462s. Back in a few seconds. Don't go away.
The 6-5 special platform 8. Train starts at breaking hard as can be. Station
Now
is
guys,
shaking.
this brings us to a very interesting locomotive. Right, Blue Peter. She's an A2 class, or also known as a Peppercorn class, 462. She was designed by Arthur Peppercorn and built by British Rail. I'm not quite sure where they were made, but I'm fairly sure they were made between 1947 and 1948, and I think only 15 of them were actually made. Yeah, this very interesting loco in quite a few ways. First of all, the numbered 160.532, which has been preserved, I believe it was back in 1997 or thereabouts. She was on an excursion, and the unqualified driver and fire, and the crew, basically the crew, the fire stoker and the driver, they basically in simple terms cocked it up, and as she was pulling out of the station, she ended up doing a wheel spin of apparently around about 140 miles an hour. It was so vicious that it completely blew the cylinders and the valve gear all to pieces, costing a lot of money to put it back right. If you go to YouTube, it is actually on there and it tells you all about it, so it's very interesting. The other interesting point about this is, over here in the UK, we've got a children's programme called Blue Peter, which started back in the 60s, I think, and I believe is still running today. And as the Blue Peter presenters regularly used to do, they used to do competitions, and Trix made 10 to give to Blue Peter to give away to winners of the competition in question. And one of them seemed to disappear. Nobody knew where it went, and so of course there was 9 left. And guess what, guys? I've got one of them here. So don't ask me how much I paid for it. Don't ask me how much it's worth, but I'll let you think about that one yourselves. Coaches wise, simple coach rake of 7 of the teak LNER clerestory roof. Seemed to suit her quite well. Yeah, the motor's a little bit creaky here, as you've probably heard, but the motor is in the cab. It's, like I say, it's a Trix loco. It's in the cab, which does seem to promote the noise a little bit. She runs fine, there's nothing wrong with her, so there we go. Blue Peter with a couple of very interesting stories about her as well. Alright, stay with me for the next interesting loco in this video. Catch you in a minute, bye. Yo guys, what can I say? Tornado. I couldn't have done this video without Tornado. She's an absolute stunner. Okay, running number 60163, Class A1 Peppercorn, or Peppercorn class, designed again by Arthur Peppercorn. Now, back in 1960, the last British steam loco to be made was Evening Star, which by the way is coming up next. But Tornado, of course, here, being based on the original Peppercorn design, was built between 1994 and 2008. She's a 462. She was built by the A1 Steam Loco Trust, which I believe most of the funds were either donations or charity or, you know, that sort of thing. And what a great thing to do. She's a beautiful locomotive. Unfortunately, none of the original A1s were ever preserved, so it was a damn good thing that they built a new one. She's fantastic. Now, the coaches. I wasn't really sure what coaches to put on her, but I had a look on YouTube, as you do, and I found quite a few videos of Tornado doing her excursions across the country. And in doing so, I noticed basically what she was pulling was bloody well absolutely mix and match. I mean, they were all Mark 1 coaches, but there was some LMS, some Southern, well not Southern, but there was LMS, there was Great Western coaches, there was all sorts on them. So I thought, okay, well, I'll recreate it, something similar to the YouTube videos, which I've done here. And basically speaking, I've got the first coach is an old Mark 1 LMS, then there's a couple of blood and custard, then there's an orange and yellow one, or orange and cream one, and then a couple more red ones, and then 4 or 5, can't remember really, but all Jubilee, or yeah, you know, the brown and cream ones, which actually to me it looked great. It just looked like the ones on the YouTube video. So if you go and have a look at them, and if you agree with me, then she looks great pulling this mishmash of coaches. So fair enough. Yeah, I also do believe, by the way, that she's been repainted blue now, but I don't know, guys. Regardless of the livery, she's a stunning loco, and definitely got a place in British history, railways. Absolutely.
And I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6-5 special brings my baby to me.
Alright then guys, moving on. Okay, next we have Evening Star, as previously just mentioned. Right, now, she was designed by R.A. Riddles. We're here moving away from the very popular and very successful 462 wheel arrangement, because Evening Star is actually a 9F, which is a 210-0 wheel arrangement. Now, the original ones were designed mainly for you know, freight haulage and power rather than speed, but Evening Star has a few credits to her name. These are the ones that are relevant. First of all, she was the last British locomotive, steam locomotive, to be built in 1960, before, of course, Tornado, as previously mentioned. That's the first thing. Second thing, she was the 999th loco of the whole British fleet ever to be built. Next, she was the only steam loco ever to be earmarked for preservation before she was even built. which is quite interesting, and of course she has been preserved. The fourth and interesting thing about Evening Star is the fact that all the other 9Fs were basically black and unlined, and like I say, they were mainly for freight. But of course, Evening Star was done in BR green, and of course obviously was used for passenger service, which the colour was particularly reserved for. She was built in 1960, like I said, at Swindon here in the UK, and she's a beautiful locomotive. And to be honest with you guys, I've actually put on her a full set of the latest Hornby Pullman coaches, which to me really do look the part. She looks gorgeous with them. This also includes the Diamond Daffodil car, the restaurant car, and on the very end we've got the Devon Bell observation car, which looks also pretty cool and pretty good. All of the coaches on this are internally lit with table lights, internal lighting, blah blah blah. So to me they look really good on her, and yep, she just is fantastic. Great looking loco in BR green, and this is the gloss version as well, so pretty cool. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, coming up in a minute I'm going to do a double header, and I'll explain to you all about that in a few seconds time. Okay, and up next then we have City of Nottingham, which is my hometown, goody, and following her we've got the Duchess of Abercorn. Now, these two look great together, both LMS of course, they do look fantastic together. I have run them together once before, pulling the Royal Train a year or so ago, but as I say, they look great together. Now, these were designed by a guy named William Stanier. Yeah, that's Stanier, that's right. LMS Works in Crew built them between 1937 and, let me think, 1948, maybe 49, not sure, 48 I think, anyway, and I think there was 38 of them built all together. Now these were a larger version of the royal class, as in the Princess Royal, Princess Elizabeth, blah blah blah. And these were the bigger daddies or mummies of those. They actually did have a nickname that the crew used to call them Big Lizzies, so that makes sense. They were the most powerful steam locomotive ever made by the British Railways, and I'm sure they deliver about 3,300 horsepower, which is quite something. Yeah, but they are beautiful locomotives. I believe 3 of them have been preserved, of which I'm fairly sure one of them is City of Birmingham. I don't think these two are part of the preservation ones. But nevertheless, we've got 3 of them still with us here in the UK. Right, rolling stock wise, I have used on the back a short utilities wagon. Following that, I've got a larger utilities or parcel van. Then I'm using 3 standard LMS coaches. Then I'm using 4 of the LMS coaches, the Royal Scot, and finally the Royal Scot brake coach on the end. So there we are, that's all of it. Looks fantastic. Enjoy it till we get to the next one.
The 6-5 special in the station tonight. The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8 train starts to break hearts and beat. Station is a shaking like a tree, and I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6-5 special is my baby to me. Hear the whistle blowing 12 to the bar. See the lights are glowing bright as a star. Now the wheels are slowing, can't be far. Over the points, over the points, over the points, over the points. The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8 train starts to breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree, and I won't be missing that special.
So there you have it, guys. A pair of Duchess Class 7Ps. Fantastic together.
The 6-5 special of the station tonight. The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8.
We're now moving away from the very popular 4-6-2 wheel arrangement again to this one. Okay, City of Bath, 440. I think 20 of these were made. In fact, I'm sure 20 of them were made. This one is numbered 3433, designed by George Jackson Churchwood. City class is what they call, but they have got a proper name, a 3700 class. Built in Swindon between 1902 and 1909, so that makes this probably it will be the oldest locomotive I've featured in the video today. Coach wise, I've just put a rake of the longer Great Western Region clerestory roof coaches, which look really good on her, really suited the part, so that's fantastic. And she's just a beautiful locomotive. And what is interesting here, out of the 20 made, the first 10 were named like, I don't know, Gibraltar, Halifax, Melbourne, Malta, something like that. But the further 10 of the 20 built were called, city names like City of Bath, City of Birmingham, City of Bristol, City of London, blah blah blah. And as I say, this one is City of Bath. But the interesting thing, that City of Truro was the most famous one of them, and she has been preserved in the National Railway Museum. Now, the City of Truro is actually, reputably supposed to be the first steam loco to reach in excess of 100 miles an hour in 1904. So that is interesting. Like I say, she's been preserved. The other 19 have been scrapped and they're no longer with us. It's a shame, but we've got the one, the popular one. I've never actually got hold of City of Truro. I would have liked to get it, but no big deal. I'll get one eventually. When the 6-5 special be my baby to me. Hear the whistle blowing, 12 to the bar. See the lights are glowing bright as a star. Now the wheels are slowing, can't be far. On the points, on the points, on the points, on the points. The 6-5 special, better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8. Train starts to break, hard as can be. Stations are shaking like a tree. And I won't be missing that special kissing. When the 6-5 special be my baby to me. Well, I can feel a caffeine input coming on. I think I'm going to have a break, grab a cup of tea, and I'll be back with you rather shortly with a couple more of the Battle of Britain class. So, go and make yourself a cup of tea, press pause, and then carry on when you're ready. See you in a bit, guys. Now guys, before I go into any details on this locomotive, I'm sure you'll probably hear a creaking. Yep, absolutely. Now, this is an early Triang one, and it's not faulted, there's nothing wrong with there. It's the body shape that amplifies the sound of the motor. I know it seems silly, but it is actually true, that's what's happening. Now, she's the same Battle of Britain class as Tangmere earlier on in the video, but Tangmere is a later Hornby one and it has a different chassis, so it doesn't actually make that sound. And I'll prove my point on this in a short while when we get to the next locomotive. But we're here, Winston Churchill. She's probably the most famous one of them all. I can't really tell you much more about it because I've told you all the information about the Battle of Britain class, West Country class in Tangmere earlier on. So as you know, there was 110 of them made, blah blah blah, so I won't go over it all again. This one's probably the most popular one because of the name Winston Churchill, which, by the way, Winston Churchill declined to appear to the naming of the locomotive in his name back in September of 1947. He was the only person, or Prime Minister, not to be there at the naming of a train for himself. So it was interesting, but he didn't turn up. He said he had a prior engagement, so okay, no problem at all, Winston. It's still named after you. Yeah, and coaches wise, I've put on, I've got the mail coach there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 I think of the Pullman, what I call the second series Pullman coaches, these are Hornby. Nice coaches, you get your own renaming kits for them as well, so yeah, there we go, Winston Churchill, and a nice way to Pullman. The 6-5 special steaming down the line, the 6-5 special's right on time, coal in the boiler, burning up fine, rolling in the rock, getting through the night, my heart's a beating, the sound of beating, the 6-5 special in the station tonight, the 6-5 special better not be late, the 6-5 special platform 8, train starts to break it hard as can be, stations are shaking like a tree, and now I won't be missing. There she goes. Really nice loco. Okay, there's another Battle of Britain one coming up in a few seconds time, so stay with me and enjoy the show.
Hear the whistle blowing, 12 to the bar. See the lights are glowing bright as a star. Now the wheels are slowing, can't be far. Over the points, over the points, over the points.
Once more, we have another Battle of Britain class here, Spitfire now. Same again, I've told you most of the information about this class of locomotives, but there are a couple of things I did forget to mention, which is quite interesting. One of them is the wheels themselves, the drivers. These were designed by Oliver Bulleid, and they're very easy to spot, as you can obviously tell here, and on Winston Churchill and on Tangmere earlier on in the video. So they were his own designed wheels. I think there is a term for them, I can't remember what it is, BEB I think, something like that. Yeah, okay. And now Spitfire, beautiful locomotive. This one's in malachite green, along with the matching malachite green coaches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and the brake coach on the end, of course. Oh yes, and another thing that's worth mentioning to you about this class of locomotives. They were designed, like I said, by Oliver Bulleid, and he designed his own valve gear mechanism. And basically, the valve gear is chain driven, and the whole thing is in oil, running in oil. This was supposedly to make maintenance easier, not having to oil all the gears every day, blah blah blah, and that we wouldn't be exposed to the elements. So he designed this particular system. There were 3 cylinders, and yeah, as I say, the valve gear was all running in oil, which is an idea what he finished from motor industry, and it was used quite widely as well for many years afterwards. But yeah, so there we go then. Spitfire, Oliver Bulleid, and some beautiful matching coaches.
The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8. Train starts and breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree.
Well folks, we've got 2 more locos to go before we get to the climax of the video. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. No, hang on a minute, no, there's 3 locos to go. What am I talking about? There's 3. Probably my all-time favourite British steamers next up, and then a couple of classic ones to round the video off. So back with the next one in a few seconds again. Oh, and I forgot to say, notice how Spitfire's creaking as well. Yeah, it's got the same old Triang chassis. It's the body that amplifies the noise. So there you go, proofs in the pudding.
Hear the whistle blowing, 12 to the bar. See the lights are glowing bright as a star. Now the wheels are slowing, can't be far from the points, on the points.
Oh guys, Britannia. Oh, Britannia. She is my ultimate favourite British steamer. That's just my personal choice. I think she's lovely. This, by the way, is my original old Triang one. She could do with a little bit of a touch-up on the paintwork in along the rails and things like that. Just a little bit. She's not bad. But I tell you what is interesting. She is running over Modern Point, Series 6 track and Pico track. Well, she's running on it now, look. No problems whatsoever. Doesn't stall on the point. So, yeah. She's at the back end of the 70s where they had already started putting the smaller flanges on the wheels. So yes, brilliant. I'm quite pleased about that. Right, okay, what can we say about Britannia then? She's called Britannia class. Well, its proper term is a BR Standard Class 7. They were all built at the Crew Works, and I think the guy's name was Robert Riddles, I think that was his name, who designed them. There was between 1951 and 1954 they were made, and there was 55 of them all together. The first one, of course, being this one, which is 70,000, and then the number went right up to 70054, of course, so that's your 55 of them made. Not a lot more to say. 462, she did feature lots of things that was taken from other locomotives through time, and basically put all the good things together, things that proved good in other locomotives. They basically used all of those in the Britannia class range of locomotives, which is great, and it's just a brilliant loco. I've got her pulling the very original Mark 1 Pullman coaches, Triang ones, which are really good. You don't see many of them in great condition. These are all very good condition, probably quite close to mint. and I've got of course the utilities wagon on there as well next to the loco. So there you go, my favourite, Britannia, beautiful loco, and yeah, what more can I say? She speaks for herself.
The 6-5 special platform 8 train starts a breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree, and I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6-5 special brings my baby to me.
Well folks, 2 to go. Okay, we're on to this one. Sir Nigel Gresley obviously doesn't need any introduction, obvious what she is. Have you ever noticed that when you say she, you always refer, most mechanical things get referred to as she. Nobody ever refers to them as he, and yet this is Sir Nigel Gresley. So she, Sir Nigel, get me point. Anyway, seriously, not a lot to say about it. She was built in 1937 at the L&ER Doncaster Works here in the UK again. I think there was, oh goodness gracious, 35, 36 of them made total, something like that, of this class. Top speed, I believe, on Gresley, Sir Nigel Gresley, was 112 mile an hour. Now, I must say, she's a beautiful locomotive, but I must say, personally, I've never been a big fan of the streamlining of steam trains. They do, I don't know, for me, I just like the shape of the train the way it used to be. You know, I don't dislike the loco, but it's not one of my favourite shapes, the A4 being the A4. But yeah, I suppose it had to be part of history, and the changing of they wanted to get more speed, so the changing of the design obviously helped that, and of course I do appreciate that. But as I say, for me personally, the A4 is not one of my favourites, but I'm sure there's plenty of people out there loving it anyway. Also to point out to you, the Rake of L&ER coaches I've got on here, the teak ones again, they're not actually the same coaches that I featured earlier in the video. They look the same on camera, but actually these are the 3rd series, the last lot that Hornby did. The detail on them is absolutely brilliant. It's definitely better than the 2nd series, but as I say, on camera you probably won't spot the difference. And I've got 2 sleeping cars on this one as well, next to the, right near the end I think, put them on near the end. Anyway, so there we go. Sir Nigel Gresley, not much more I can tell you about it. Just enjoy it for a few more seconds until we get to the last one.
Over the points, the 6-5 special steaming down the line. The 6-5 special's right on time. Gold in the boiler, burning up bright, rolling and rocking through the night. My heart's a beating, 'cause I'll be meeting the 6-5 special in the station tonight. The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8 train starts a breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree, and I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6-5 special brings my baby.
Well gang, here we are, on the 14th and final loco of this set here on this video. Another one not really needing much of an introduction. Silver Link, another A4 Gresley classic, 462 wheel arrangement again. She was built in 1935. Same top speed as the other Gresleys, 112 miles per hour. And she was actually built especially to pull a new train called the Silver Jubilee. So I thought very, very fittingly for the last one in the video, give her the Royal Coaches to pull, which I have featured once before, about a year ago, and that actually has turned out to be my most popular video, funnily enough. But yeah, cool. One thing that somebody suggested to me on the comments of that video a year ago was, I've got 3 of the support brake cars, the staff cars, and they said you ought to split them up. So running them again here is exactly what I've done. I put one behind the tender, one roughly in the middle after the first series of World Coaches, then another one on the end after the last series of the World Coaches. So that splits them up a bit, and it looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. So nothing else to say. Big thanks for watching, obviously. Hope you've enjoyed the show. It's taken probably about a full week to do this, because you can imagine that I have to put everything back in the boxes after one's been run. clear the layout off, put everything back in the boxes, then find all the other boxes for the next one I plan to run, put them all on the track obviously, sort them out, check everything, then do the filming, and then the same again. And although there's 14 locos, it's actually 13 segments because of the double-headed Duchess class ones. So yeah, been a long job, and yeah, as I always say anyway, I've enjoyed doing it. It's great fun, and I hope you know, enjoy it as well in the same way that I do, and I hope it brings fun to you as well. So for me, I'm going to say cheerio, call it a day, leave you to watch the last 30 seconds without me gabbing away, and I'll be along with the next video when I can. See you everybody, take good care of yourselves and each other, bye!
Hear the whistle blowing, 12th to the bar. See the lights are glowing bright as a star. Now the wheels are slow and can't be far. Over the points, over the points, over the points, over the points. The 6-5 special better not be late. The 6-5 special platform 8. Train starts a breaking hard as can be. Station is a shaking like a tree. And I won't be missing that special kissing when the 6-5 special brings my baby to me. Over the points, over the points, over the points, over the points. When the 6-5 special brings my baby back to